All right, hey, never a dull moment in my world. I decided to get into beekeeping, and my good buddy Fielding Price has hooked me up with some honeybees. Now, I've got a couple hives that are ordered, going to be here about the middle of April, but Fielding is tearing this building down. It's an old house, been abandoned forever, and he come across some honeybees. Now, the good part about this deal is we can tear up whatever we want. You know, it's not like we're removing bees from a house somebody's living in. I've never done this before. I haven't been in a beehive in over 40 years, so we're going to give it a shot. But here we are up here in the top floor of the house, and the bees are right over here. There's bees coming in and out right here. Matter of fact, they're all sitting there looking at me, ready to eat me alive. And they're going out through this crack to the outside of the house. Now you can see some comb there. If it's in the camera, you can see some old comb over there where there's been bees in here before. What I think I'm going to find is that hive is going to run back between these floor joists. Now, you have no idea what you're getting into till you rip it open. So we're fixing to do that here in a little bit. Got two critical points of failure here. Number one is getting stung and dying. And number two is not finding the queen. We got to make sure that we have to find the queen. I've got a gentleman coming down from a local town to help me out here. He's been a beekeeper since 1976, and he says this is no big deal. So we're going to get after it and see what happens. Should be a good video. Y'all over here where you can see a little better. Camera's on the tripod, so bear with me just a second. Down in there's what we're looking at. And we're just going one board at a time, work our way back across it. Well, it's the day after the great honeybee removal yesterday from the house. By now you've seen the video. I kind of consider it to be like an epic failure on my part, just kind of a comedy of errors there between battery not getting charged up and bad camera placement. But if you guys bear with me, these videos will get a little better. I'm sitting over in my shop building kind of an impromptu YouTube studio, and just wanted to, you know, hey, on that beehive thing, it went as well as could be expected. I'm going to jump right out and tell you that by no means am I a honeybee expert or a beekeeper at all. Like I said in the video, my grandfather had some hives, and 44 years ago probably was the last time I was in a beehive. But this opportunity came up the other day. I had already decided to get some bees and had bought some equipment, so I had what I needed. So I figured I'd jump on out there. In a nutshell, you've got, I'll turn this way for you. You had the floor joists running this way. Right here was the outside wall. And those bees had built a hive in between these joists. And the comb in the hive was built kind of at this angle, okay, from side to side in the hive, just row after row after row. And what we did was just peel the floor back a board or two at a time, enough to expose one row of comb, and then we removed the comb. Plan worked really well. In hindsight, I think I would have went to the back side of it and worked toward the wall, because what we did find was as we were moving through the hive, we were pushing the bees further back under the floor. So at the end of the day, I had to go back behind them and cut some floor and kind of run them back out, chase them toward where I had the hive sitting. And I ended up scooping a lot of bees out with my hand and just dumping them in the hive. Now, we never did see the queen. I believe that she is in the hive based on how the bees were acting and continued to act after we left. I got out there about 4:30 yesterday, I guess, and we had the vast majority of the bees were already moved into the hive. But I just left it sit there opened up and figured I'd go back after dark and see what happened. When I got back, there was two small handful-sized clumps of bees outside the hive. Everything else was in the hive. That leads me to believe that the queen is in that hive. Had she not been in that hive, then I think the bees would have come out of that and would have been a bigger swarm or a bigger pile of bees somewhere in that room.
So anyway, I think we got the queen. I think it all worked well. Hindsight 2020. I've done a little more prepping with the camera and try to make a better video for y'all. But I think you can get the gist of how we went about that. One thing that I don't know was real clear was how we were putting the frames in the hive. Now, if you don't know, these hive bodies have 10 frames in them, okay? This is called a deep. Now, the deep is traditionally used for brood, which is the bees' babies. It's where they lay their eggs, raise their young, store some resources. When you start talking about honey production, there's a box that will go on top of this one. It's called medium, and it's about 2 inches, I guess, give or take, shorter. And that's where you set it up so the queen can't get up there and lay. The only thing that can get up there are the honeybees to make the honey, but that's a different video. But anyhow, in these boxes we had 10 frames. And what I did was I simply removed a bunch of frames out of the box. And as we cut the comb out, we would put the comb in the frame, and then I would put rubber bands around the frame to try to hold the comb up. Now the comb is very, very soft, and you've got to be really careful with it. So if you didn't see it clearly on the video, we would have a frame sitting there. We would bring over a, look through the window, we would bring over a piece of comb and then take rubber bands. I'd raise one end up, we'd stretch a rubber band over, and we would work them on down the comb, coming in from each side, usually 4 or 5 rubber bands, just to simply hold the comb straight up and down. When you saw me take the frame and go over here, that's where I had my hive body set. And I would just set this in the hive, and we'd go ahead and grab the next one, get it done up, and I would stick it in the hive body. Now, I talked about brood, which is where the queen does the laying and everything else. The brood traditionally is going to be found in the center portion of a hive. On the outsides is where you'll find honey if they have honey that's in there. As we started through that hive, there were, we probably had 15 or 16 sections of comb that were running about a 45-degree angle. We started out, we had 4 or 5 of honey, and then we got into 4 or 5 of brood, and then back into 4 or 5 more of honey. So when we started with the honey, obviously I set them at the end. As we got to the brood of the hive, I filled in the middle. I ended up with 10 frames. I've got a full hive over there, which will give them a lot of resources to start with. I got all of the brood. I put in what honey would fit, and then I actually ended up bringing, I probably got 1 pound, 2 pounds of honey. My friend that helped me out, he probably took home 4 or 5 pounds of honey, simply because I didn't want to put that into another brood chamber, and it was just kind of excess. And I really got to throw a shout out to John Logan. Thank you so much for coming down and helping me out with this. He's a local beekeeper. Started raising bees in 1974 or 76, so he's got a lot of experience and could not have done it without him. Look forward to developing our friendship, sir, as you help me learn this game here. And thank you again for what you did. So anyway, that's kind of a long and short of it. Again, I'm sorry about the video. Proper prior planning prevents, poor performance, and I didn't properly plan prior to, because I didn't charge the battery up. But anyway, I hope you guys learned something and saw something out of that. I think it's kind of cool. I'm going to have several beekeeping videos that I'm going to post as I go through my first year of raising bees, and what I think is going to be a very steep learning curve that I hope to be mitigated by some help from some good friends. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Give me a like, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, do whatever. I'm never going to be a YouTube guy making a bunch of money, but it's kind of cool to know that some people actually watch this stuff. So anyway, thanks, and we will see you again on the next adventure.